Zoos Connect Us to the Natural World by Michael Hutchins. The scene of Little Joe, the curious young gorilla out of his zoo exhibit wandering through Franklin Park, certainly sold papers last month, but less well covered was the very real success that our nation's best zoos have had in nurturing the animals who live within their walls. At the turn of the last century, gorillas, these strange human like creatures from darkest Africa, still flourished in the wild and thoroughly captivated the American public. But once relocated from their jungle habitat, gorillas languished. Zoos found it impossible to keep the animals alive for more than a few weeks, since little was known about the natural history of gorillas. Even as late as the 1960s and 70s, most zoo gorillas were kept singly or in pairs in small, sterile concrete and tile cages and fed inappropriate foods. But things began to change as information from field and zoo biologists brought more understanding of both the physiological and psychological needs of these remarkable creatures. Gorillas in today's zoos are typically kept in large naturalistic exhibits, maintained in appropriate social groupings, fed nutritionally appropriate diets, and provided with excellent veterinary care. The result is that zoo gorillas exhibit behavior similar to their wild counterparts, reproduce consistently, and live longer on average than they do in nature. In fact, recent advances in exhibit design, animal nutrition, genetic management, and veterinary medicine have revolutionized animal welfare and care in our zoos. More than 90% of mammals housed in accredited facilities were born in zoos and not taken from the wild. They are under the charge of animal curators and caretakers who are trained professionals with both academic and practical experience. Furthermore, accredited zoos have become learning organizations that constantly strive to improve the lives and health of the animals in their care. So why should we have gorillas or any other wild animals in zoos of today? Before speculating about the role of these institutions in contemporary society, I must first draw a distinction between accredited zoos and other kinds of facilities that keep wild animals for public display. All of my statements are focused exclusively on the 213 facilities accredited by the American Zoo and Aquarium Association. AZA members undergo a detailed peer review process which is more comprehensive than existing local, state, or federal regulations. At a time when children learn more about the world around them from television and computers than from personal experience, modern zoos, and aquariums for that matter, offer fun, safe opportunities to view living wild animals up close and personal. In 2002, over 140 million people visited AZA zoos and aquariums. More than attended all professional baseball, football, basketball, and ice hockey games combined. Modern zoological parks provide us a wonderful opportunity to build awareness and appreciation of wildlife in an increasingly urbanized populace, a group that is becoming progressively disconnected from the natural world. Only a small percentage of our nation's citizens can afford to travel to exotic locations to view wild tigers, elephants, or giant pandas, or to dive with sharks or moray eels. Zoos provide exhilarating experiences that can't be replicated on two-dimensional television or computers screens. Seeing, smelling, and in some cases even touching real live animals is a powerful experience. The best zoos include conservation, education, and science among their core missions, and the animals in their collections can be viewed as ambassadors for their counterparts in the wild. Many species are endangered or threatened and would have little chance of survival without human intervention. Increasingly, zoos are playing an important role in those efforts. Last year alone, AZA member institutions supported 1,400 field conservation and associated educational and scientific projects in over 80 countries worldwide. These range from restoring habitat for endangered Karner blue butterflies in Ohio to attempting to curb the illegal commercial harvest of wildlife for meat in Africa, to rehabilitating injured marine mammals and sea turtles and returning them to the sea. Some critics have characterized zoos and aquariums as exploiting animals for personal financial gain, but that's not true of the professionals I know. As a curator intern at New York's Bronx Zoo Wildlife Conservation Society in the late 1980s, I went on rounds with the staff veterinarians as they cared for sick and injured animals. They worked long hours for comparatively little pay, and their dedication was inspiring. I also witnessed animal keepers weeping over the loss of their favorite animals and spending their own money to attend training programs to improve their knowledge and skills. In my opinion, a society that values wildlife and nature should support our best zoos and aquariums. Habitat conservation is the key to saving endangered species, and professionally managed zoos and aquariums and their expert, dedicated staffs play a vital role by supporting on the ground conservation efforts and by encouraging people to care for and learn about wildlife and nature. Zoos and aquariums are reinventing themselves, but while many are in the process of rebuilding their aging infrastructures, still others retain vestiges of the past or have been hit hard by recent state or local budget cuts. Good zoos and aquariums are invaluable community assets, as they deserve our attention and enthusiastic support.